So I'm joined now at Dublin's Convention Centre by Paul O'Mahony, digital marketing specialist and personal development speaker. Paul, how have you been enjoying the Pendulum Summit? You're a bit of a seasoned Pendulum Summit speaker and attendee.
Yeah, I've been loving it. It's been amazing this year. Very different to the Tony Robbins one last year, where it really was all about one man, high energy, high motivation. While this year it's, unbelievable standard of speakers, 6 of the top speakers in the world. And I think from everybody I'm speaking to, whether you're into business, whether you're an employee, or whether you're kind of thinking about making that leap into the entrepreneurship world, people seem to be getting a lot of information and knowledge out of it.
Now, you're a digital marketing specialist, so you're in my game, okay?
Yeah.
But you're also in the personal development speaking game with, the speakers that are here over the past 2 days.
Yes.
Like, you have 100 speaking gigs already in the first week in January. How did you get into that space?
Actually, the way I got into it was I set up my own event back in 2010 because I wanted to speak about what I did in social media. And it's very difficult to break into the speaking arena when people don't know who you are. So I said, well, nobody can stop me from speaking at my own gig. So I was the star attraction at my own gig.
It's like something I would do, Paul.
Yeah, it works. It works, yeah.
So you speak now across the world and in mainland Europe. So what are the kind of nuggets of advice that you're sharing with audiences?
So, as you introduced me as a digital marketing specialist, the thing that I suppose that's my angle. But the interesting thing about it, and a lot of the people that study from me and learn from me want to know how to make money from social media and digital marketing. But social media works, the systems work, but the problem with most people that they find is what's going on between their ears. And while a lot of people say, "Oh, I got that mindset down," or that's a bit too American for me, I've realised that the people that get the best results in what I teach are the people that have put a lot of time and effort and energy into their mindset and just constantly improving every day what's going on between their ears. Because
you are actually testament to those strategies, because you have brought yourself from zero to millions plus based on what you are teaching, and I think audiences appreciate that you've walked the digital walk.
Sure, yeah.
And do they give you that feedback?
They do. To be honest, I do most of my speaking outside of Ireland, and I know a lot of your viewers are in Ireland. We don't realise.
No, I'm worldwide,
Paul.
Of course. I'm global.
Okay, fair enough. You can hear the crowd laughing in the background.
Nobody's laughing, apart from him.
But outside of Ireland, a lot of people don't realise this. We're treated in a whole other light. We step up about 5 levels where we're almost, it's almost like you can't be a prophet in your own country. So I got lucky to a certain degree in that I started speaking outside of Ireland, and the biggest asset I think that we have as a country are our people, and the way we just know how to communicate naturally with people without pushing ourselves, without being all salesy and arrogant and cocky. And I think my approach and the Irish approach of just being humour and kind of taking the mickey out of ourselves a little bit while being educational at the same time is something that really appeals to an audience worldwide, and eventually I'm sure the Irish audience will warm to it too at some point.
So as I've said to my community, I've come here to the Pendulum Summit for the first time to change JSB's mindset, and I know you've been trying to give me some tips, and I've been working hard to take them on board. So for those of us that maybe have limiting beliefs around our potential, so what advice would you give us?
First and foremost, you're not on your own. Every single person has limiting beliefs. Even the person that you might look up to and find inspirational, regardless of what arena, they too wake up every morning and wonder, can I do that? Can I get to that next level? Because as soon as you get there, you set new targets and new goals. So it doesn't end as such. So to some people that's a bit depressing, but at the same time it is quite inspiring to know that you can be whoever you want to be. But in terms of specifics of things that people can do to get started straight away, it all started for me with a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And Keith Cunningham, who was here over this 2 days, he's the rich dad that's being referred to in that book. And then I started reading The Secret. And I was so excited about The Secret back in 2008. I was working in Boston Scientific in Galway. I brought it into work. I'll never forget the response I got.
Did they laugh at you?
Yeah, I brought it into the canteen and said, did anybody read this? And a friend of mine said, Paul, are you freaking serious? Do you not know The Secret is not for Irish people? And I always remember that because it kind of really summarised where we were at as a nation. We didn't really believe in visualization or even meditation or simple things like that. But it started with me for a book, and if I was to recommend a book, obviously other than Jerry's, on my own, it would
And
be
mine.
and yours, of course. But that's a given. That's a given. The link is on the bottom. I would actually get you to do something called read The Values Factor by Dr. John DeMartini, who's speaking next. Because the key to all of this is actually knowing what you want. Jerry talked about this, but knowing what you want is the biggest and most challenging question I get from students, mentoring clients. I say, look, this is going to be straightforward. Once you tell me what you want, I'll get you there. And most people say, what do you mean, what do I want? I want more money. And I say, well, here's a $5. You've just achieved your goal, right? So what the values factor does is it makes you understand what is it that makes you tick? What is it that inspires you? And it takes you through the 7 areas in life: like physical health, financial well-being, spiritual, social, mental, vocational, and family. And each of us looks at these areas through different blinkers, and some of them are really important to us and some of them aren't that important, and that will determine your values. And when you get clear on that and you know what it is that inspires you, you can take everything to a whole new level. But it starts with just reading the first page, reading the first chapter, and even if you get past the first chapter, you are now in the 10% of people. There's only 10% of people who buy non-fiction books who read past chapter 1, believe it or not. Yeah. So read that, and I think once you have an insight of what's going on in here, then you can start to impact around you a little bit more.
Okay. Paul Mahoney, great to talk to you always. I'm giving you too much exposure on JSB Talks Digital, but it's okay. It's okay. You're a good guy.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And thanks everybody.